In this chapter we are going to talk about the operators. We have come across quite a few of them already in the previous chapters because it's really difficult to talk about any matter in PHP or any other programming language without actually tackling some other aspects of it. An operator is something that takes one or more values or expressions in programming jargon and returns another value so that the construction itself becomes an expression. Let's quickly use our search on the php.net and type in operators. There we go. If we hit enter, that will take us to the operators page. And the first one we are going to have a look at is the arithmetic one. So if we click on that one, and when you open that page, you see the arithmetic operator table, which includes negation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and exponentiation. Let's open our editor and start experimenting with all this. So if we start with the negation, let's start with the variable a, which will equal, let's say, 22, and then we are going to have variable b, which will equal minus, and then we go and append the variable a. And the result, if we echo this in the browser, b, if we open all this in a browser, refresh the page, is minus 22. What has happened? We basically took the value of associated with the a variable and we negated it basically by prepending this minus symbol to it. So 22 became minus 22. Let's have a look at another example. This time it's going to be the addition. We have our variable of a, and then we have our variable of b, which will say have number 3 associated with it. And then we echo the result, which will be a plus b. If we save it, preview in a browser, refresh the page, 25, because 22 and 3 is 25. If we now try and subtract it, we just use minus symbol instead of the plus and preview it in a browser, we are going to get 19. Pretty much things that you would expect with these variables to happen when you're using these operators, obviously. So the next one is going to be multiplication. If we try and multiply this and open our browser, refresh, there we go, 66, because if you think about it, 3 times 22 is 66. If we use the division, if we divide it by b, but let's change it perhaps to 2 to make it a little bit easier for ourselves. If we refresh the page, we have 11 because obviously 22 divided by 2 is 11. Next, we have a modulus operator. Modulus operator is represented by the percentage symbol. And let's quickly change this number. A will be 5.6, let's say, and B 3. Now, what a modulus operator does, it basically takes the A and B, which is on the right-hand side, and tries to fit the B inside of the A as many times as possible, and returns the remainder of this operation, basically. So 3, how many times 3 can be found inside of the 5? Basically, how many times we can fit it in 5? It's obviously just 1, so the remainder will be 2. Now, why? Because modulus strips any decimal places from both of the operands, basically converting them to integers, so full numbers. So 5.6 basically becomes 5, and obviously if we try and put 3 inside of 5, the remainder will be 2. So if we save this page and preview everything in a browser, there we go, 2 is what we are actually getting. If we try with a larger number, let's say 100, and again, the operand on this right-hand side will have 3 associated with it, so we have 100 on the left, 3 on the right. How many times 3 can be found inside of the 100? 33, so if we multiply 3 by 33, what is the remainder? Basically 3 times 33 is 99, so remainder of the 100 will be just 1. If we save it and preview it in a browser, refresh the page, and there we go. Fair enough, we have just 1. If we try and do the same with a negative number, let's go back to our 5 and preview the result on the page, refresh the page, is minus 2. It's minus 2 because the operand on the left hand side was negative. But what happens if we do the operand on the right hand side negative? So we are now trying to fit minus 3 inside of 5. If we save it and refresh it in a browser, you can see it becomes a positive 2. So basically, the operand on the right-hand side, whether it's negative or positive, doesn't really affect the result. Only operand on the left-hand side can. The exponentiation is the last operator we're going to be discussing, and this one has been introduced in PHP as of version 5.6. So if you are running a version of PHP lower than 5.6, you will not be able to basically execute this code. Let's quickly change this -3 to 3, and the exponentiation operator is simply double multiplication symbol. So this basically star on your keyboard. What it does, it raises a to the bth power. So basically it does what it's going to do with our example here. It's going to do, we need to multiply 5 3 times basically. So it's going to be 5 times 5 times 5. So if we save it and preview everything in the browser, refresh the page, and there we go, 125. 5 times 5 is obviously 25, and times 5 is 125. So that's what this exponentiation operator does.